Can your eating disorder switch from one eating disorder to another? So, for example, if you have a history of rapid weight loss and restricting your food, can it transition to feeling out of control with food and rapid weight gain? My name is Sheena, and I'm your eating disorder expert. And the answer might surprise you. The answer is actually yes and no. So, let's really dig into that. A lot of times we will see the symptoms of an eating disorder change. So, for example, a person may begin their eating disorder behaviors by doing things like cutting out calories, tracking their calories excessively, compulsive exercise, or engaging in purging behaviors. Classify that individual to fall into a category like anorexia nervosa and anorexia nervosa binge purge or bulimia nervosa, the frequency of purging. Now, here's why I answered the question as being yes and no. The diagnosis of an eating disorder is based on the DSM-5, so the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, version 5. And this is a collection of all of the psychological diagnoses, including the diagnoses for all of the different types of eating disorders. Now, here's the thing that I have to propose to you is that somebody actually had to create these diagnosis criteria. So the diagnosis criteria for anorexia nervosa, restrictive type, anorexia nervosa, purging type, bulimia nervosa, binge eating disorder, etc. And if you ask my professional opinion, they did kind of a lousy job. The way that I would reclassify these eating disorders is that restrictive eating disorder, where you are thinking that you should restrict calories or you are thinking that you should try to get rid of food from the body through either vomiting, exercise, or laxatives. You are creating a lot of rules about food. You are thinking about food to an excessive amount, either what you will or won't eat, etc. These are all very restrictive behaviors. And every any type, binge eating disorder, and bulimia nervosa are actually all just restrictive eating disorders. And the way that I like to think about this is it's not what type of eating disorder you have, it's how are we restricting our food, either mentally, physically, or both. Because all of these eating disorders have a restrictive component to it. And the way that we treat these eating disorders is going to be by finding ways to eliminate the restrictive behaviors and thoughts around that eating disorder. No, that's a lot different than what we've been sold. We've been sold that one eating disorder is being restrictive about food and one is being out of control with food, such as the case of anorexia versus binge eating disorder. But this is actually not the case. Binge eating disorder has just as many restrictive components as other clinical disorders, such as anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, or I would actually propose that we just kind of redo all of that and say, okay, here's ways that we have an eating disorder, and here's the restrictive behaviors that we can go about that. And if that helps to kind of clarify things, I get asked this question a lot, is whether or not those eating disorders can change. I hope that this information was helpful for you. If so, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with a friend.